go get them again.
Welcome back to another unboxing first impression video on my channel. Today we are delving into the brand of Hugo Boss and one of my babies, Boss Bottled, part of that lineup, and this one called Boss Bottled Absolu by Hugo Boss. Now this is a hype beast within our fragrance community. Hugo Boss is like the new flashy kid on the community. They can do no wrong. Now this and the Elixir, which is right here, boxed. We are going to unbox that at some point on my channel. It's you can see it used to sit right there, and it's going to go right back there after this video. But I kind of wanted to show you my Boss Bottle collection, which is smaller than I figured. I thought I bought a whole bunch of Boss Bottled, but I guess not. Now, this and the Elixir are getting so much hype that it has people actually placing Hugo Boss as a premier fragrance brand over Hermes, Chanel, and Dior. And what are you guys smoking? Slow down, Tiger. Brands like this, like first of all, what else has Hugo Boss been releasing? Right? Like what, the scent? Well, come on now. That's like a $50 fragrance at best with all its flankers. Now, Hugo Boss used to be bargain bin fodder. It used to sit there with the Boss, all the Hugo Bosses, like Tommy Hilfiger, Calvin Klein. Like that's where it used to sit. Remember that. That wasn't too, like it, maybe I'm an old man, but that wasn't too long ago where you could find a whole bunch of Hugo Bosses at your Marshalls and stuff like that, because really they had nothing except this. And this was my high school scent, Boss Bottled. I have the, what is this? The Intense version, I think the Eau de Toilette, and the EDP version of the Intense. Yeah, those are very hard to find. They're very much sought after. I have my Oud, I believe, is right here, which is absolutely fantastic, right? Hugo Boss, they have their flagship, which is Boss Bottled. And when done right, you can hit like the Oud. It is very good. It's excellent. That one should deserve the hype that these ones are getting. Now, I don't know how good these are. We're going to find that out. And then I have Night here, which I really didn't like. This is my personal bottle. I blind bought it, so we're going to see how Elixir does. And this is in the Purgatory over there. So I have Hugo Boss Perfume, I think, is that one, Parfum. And this is the Saffron. Oud Saffron, which I'm excited about, and those are in the Purgatory to be unboxed, quote unquote. So now moving back to this one and kind of slowing down the theme of, oh, Hugo Boss is massive in the designer game, right? Well, Issey Miyake released, right, 2 dark fragrances back to back in the mid 2010s, like the Ombre and the Essence one, which were excellent and were awesome. And then where have they been lately, right? You kind of have to kind of slow down the truck here because Boss Bottle doesn't really have anything else. Like Hugo Boss doesn't have anything else but this right now, right? So you kind of have to start putting in new lines before we start talking about Hermes and this is the top of the line. No. Hey, calm down, okay? So Boss Bottled is saving the company. So let's get into it. It's a good DNA, first of all. So it's not like they've never hit before. It's not like a surprise that Boss Bottle flankers are good. I'm assuming this should be good. Looking at the note breakdown, they should. I don't see cinnamon. I don't see vanilla. I don't. In the note breakdown, which are big pieces. Of course, apple is a big piece also of Boss Bottled. So I don't see any of that in here. Now, before we get into anything, if you're new here, welcome to the Robezoid channel. I'm your host, Mark. Hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, right? This is non-sponsored. I'm not going with the flow with everybody else. I'm not new to this platform. I'm not trying to impress anybody. I'm not trying to piggyback on what other fragrance reviewers say. I'm just me. And I'm here not for clicks. I'm not here for subscribers. You can subscribe if you want. If you don't, if you want to leave, leave. I don't care. I'm not one of those that numbers is like I'm craving it. You know, this is the kind of fragrance reviewer you want to have in your back pocket because I'm going to tell you a spade's a spade, right? I'm going to tell you if this is overhyped or not. Obviously, it's just an unboxing first impression, so we'll see. So let's take a look at the note breakdown. I'm kind of late on this one, but let's delve into it. In the top, we got incense and leather. So that's a dark first, like a top note. Wow, okay. In the mid, we got patchouli and myrrh, so okay, interesting. And then in the base, we got cedarwood and davana. Okay, davana, that's an interesting note to have in the note breakdown. We'll see how much of that we get in here. That is the, those are all sexy notes to me personally. It was released back in 2024. Noses, we have Susie Laheli, which returns, I believe. Susie was the nose also for Elixir. The Parfum edition, which I have right here. So I'm looking forward to that one. And the Triumph Elixir, which is the one that's kind of released after this, but never really had the hype of either one of these. And of course, it's a double head monster. So we have All-Star Perfume, one that I know a lot of, Annick Monardo. I love Annick Monardo. Like late 90s, early 2000s, Annick Monardo was one of the best in the game. And Annick Monardo, if you didn't know, drafted Boss Bottled back in the 90s. Imagine that, one of my babies. And she was one of the first perfumiers that I gotten to know within my journey. Obviously, Annick did the OG, and she kind of faded away a little bit. They did a whole bunch of fragrances of Boss Bottled and a whole bunch that are not in here, like flankers and stuff, without her. And then she came back for the Absolute version, which is not this, Absolute, like TE, the Elixir, the Parfum, and Triumph. So she has returned finally to the brand to start drafting new Boss Bottled, and why not? It used to be known as Boss number 6. It's weird how the name changed on that one. So let's look at pricing. It does retail for 150 USD, so it's kind of like the norm now. For the 100 mil, and it's at around $100 USD at discounters. It's still fairly new. It has a few months behind it, right? It was released in late 2024. If I recall, it was fall, I think, where people were hyping this thing up. So let's unbox this. This is not my personal, by the way, this is not my personal bottle. I received this to decant it. This is basically my sampling samples. If I like it, I may purchase a bottle of it for my own personal collection, because I am a fan of Boss Bottled as a brand, and the caps have changed. Okay. Huh. All right. Not changed like big time. It just says Boss on the top, but it's black instead of like nothing on the tops. Huh. Interesting. So it has a gradient, which goes from black to yellow, basically. A nice bottle, really nice. And they changed their logo, right? The Hugo Boss it used to be embossed. Oh, no, it didn't. No, never mind. I'm wrong. But it looks different font. Different font, eh? Okay, so let's delve into this one. It should be a dark one. It should be good if it's a dark Boss Bottled. I haven't met the terrible one yet. Let's see what we get here. So, Boss Bottled Absolu. Ooh. Ooh, that's a little balsamic, eh? Wow. They changed her. This does not resemble Boss Bottled at all. I don't know how I feel. This is heavy on the patchouli. This is patchouli based. Damn. Little leather in the background. Almost kind of like suede-like though, but it doesn't really have much bite to it. This is heavy on the patchouli. I was not expecting. I was expecting. I don't know what I was expecting. Very green. Not bad, but when I saw this hyped with all the influencers, I was kind of expecting like a really syrupy, ambery kind of thing. And it has those tones, but it has a very bitey patchouli. It has that bite to it. That's interesting that this thing got hyped. Yeah, this is heavy on the patchouli. Holy crap. So, DAVANA as well. So to me, and we're looking at these notes here, incense, leather, patchouli, myrrh, cedarwood, and DAVANA. I'm going with the mid and base as your primaries. Patchouli's primary, DAVANA's your secondary, and I'm going to get to that very herbal green note, and cedarwood. Now you're getting a little bit of that leather. You're getting a little bit of sweetness too, possibly from the myrrh. Incense, I'm not getting smoke, honestly. And you know, depending on your influencer, some guys may say that they get heavy smoke. No, no, no. This is patchouli at its core. A nice patchouli, but daring enough, like, for this to be hyped in the community, I don't know. I don't know. Like we would have to fact check a lot of these influencers, like who likes patchouli like this and who doesn't, because man, yeah. So Davana is the second in command. Why I say that is because Davana has an herbal bitter green nuance, and it's definitely in here with the patchouli. And Davana can give out like an apricot fruitiness. I'm not getting any of that, but like kind of like a tea-like smell, a little spicy. I'm getting that. You're getting a little bit of an ambery glow from the myrrh, kind of, you know, you could explain it as like a cola vibe kind of thing. Balsamic, ambery. You're getting a little bit of that. The patchouli is very dark. It has that density to it. So it's going to be kind of, it's rich. It is warm. It is comforting. It's very good. It is very good. I'm more surprised on the hype on this. I would think that these guys would be like, oh, this is too much, or this is too, you know, niche quality, or kind of, because it's kind of off the beaten path for everything that everybody, these influencers like the Jean-Paul Gaultiers and the 1 Millions and the Invictus and stuff like that. This is a straight turn out of that. This is built well. I don't know if I'm going to expect a lot of development here, because I'm getting a lot of the back end, the base and the mid notes more than I'm getting of the top notes. The top notes are very, and that's where it kind of explains it really well, because the top notes are fleeting. So am I getting a lot of incense? Not really. I'm getting, it's minor, like low secondary. Leather is a secondary note. It's more suede-like than anything, so don't expect smoke. Don't expect, you know, some bite out of the leather. Now, if we move into the mid, patchouli, primary. Myrrh, high secondary. You're getting a little bit of that. And in the base, cedarwood, yeah, it's behind everything. Davana, yes, low primary. So it's a Davana patchouli-based scent with some myrrh, cedarwood, and leather. Like the incense is actually probably your least likely culprit here. Yeah, it's warm. It has a little bit of that sweetness, ambery, balsamic kind of feel, but the patchouli is very dark. The patchouli, a bit chocolatey. It reminds, there's some reminisce, like I'm reminiscing. So I'm reminiscing of something that I've smelt in the past a little bit in here. I'm trying to figure out where I'm smelling this. I probably won't get it on camera today, but so the original DNA of Boss bottled, not in here. It's not in the note breakdown, and it's not in here. I'm not getting apple. I'm getting spices. I'm getting a spicy facet, and cinnamon can be one of those. So I'm going to place that as a placeholder. Vanillic, not really. So this DNA has been completely revamped here. I wouldn't assume that anybody that likes this, the intense versions, all that. This is going more into, I can't even compare this to the Oud. The Oud has a lot more reminiscent of the original. This is a thing on its own. But it reminds me of something. I think it reminds me of a Carolina Herrera Confidential. One of those. Was it the gold bottle? Mystery tobacco, maybe? One of those. I have to go back, but I feel like I'm sensing a little bit of that. I'm going to have to go back to those Herreras. And that's a good comparison, because it's a designer release, but it's a high-end designer release, which is uberly expensive. But yeah, so my thoughts right now of this unboxing, I like it. Bottle worthy? Yeah, I think so. Like, I think this will be I don't think it's going to be like, oh, this is going to be my number one for fall or winter, but It would probably crack a top 20 at some point in my top 20 falls, like in number 16 or 18 or something like that, like a new release that I'm kind of a little excited about. It has that. The only thing that I'm kind of cautious about right now is that I'm getting a lot of the back end notes immediately. So that usually tells you that what you see is what you get. So that means where is the transitions in here? Is it going to be very much a zoop, like it's just going to smell like this and it's going to stay like this, which is not a bad thing, because it's warm, it's comforting, it's, I'm surprised that nobody, I don't know, like I'm saying nobody, I'm sure a lot of people are correlating this as a patchouli and DAVANA based fragrance. I'm very green, but the darker notes, you know, tone down that greenness, you know, and it's almost like almost going black, right? It's like a dark, like it's a patchouli. You see that, you know the patchouli is green, but it's in a dimly lit room. So it's more black, if that makes sense. Like the myrrh, the leather, the cedar wood, the DAVANA is kind of making it like, I don't know, like it should be more green than it is. But the patchouli itself as a note can go different facets. And so can the DAVANA. So really interesting fragrance. I like it. It's a good entry to the Boss Bottled line. It has absolutely nothing to do with the original Boss Bottled, honestly, by name only. You are a far cousin of your original. Like, it's almost like one of those that we have to check the papers. Is this kid really in our family? It's one of those. I'm looking forward to sniffing the elixir and kind of seeing maybe that's where this correlates together. And if I recall correctly, and I haven't smelt the Triumph one. Triumph Elixir, I think the blue bottle one, the one that was released in between these two, was more of a patchouli base. So maybe this is correlating off that. Maybe. Yeah, the patchouli's going kind of like a little chocolatey, a little, but it's not gourmand, don't get me wrong. There's too much spiciness, woodiness, suede like leather in here to make it go into that category. But I'm looking forward to the days that go by. I think it's bottle worthy for me. Like if I gave it a score right now, and I usually don't with unboxings, but I'd give it a good high 8 and a possibility of a 9 on my channel. That's pretty good for a designer fragrance, right? There's not too many right now that I'm unboxing 2025 releases that are up in the 8, 9, 10s, which are bottle worthy. This is a high 8, possibly of a 9, depending. Yeah, not a bad release, but nothing new in the game, you know, but then you start searching for this kind of DNA, you might be going more lower end niche, and like designer, you know, privé lines, not the great ones, like the Dior's and the Chanel, no, like kind of like the middling ones, like I said, Confidential line, which is a very good designer privé line, but it's kind of still resembles kind of designer. It's kind of reminding me of that, slotting in there, which I think is a good comparison to it. Yeah, it's not bad. Now that you heard my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly. This has a lot of hype, so we're going to get a lot of cosigns, and there's going to be a lot of people that may get mad at me. They're like, 8? What? That's a 10. This is amazing. I haven't smelled a designer fragrance this good in years. I wouldn't go that far. I would say it's good, like very good. I think it's worthy. But I'm not gonna, you know, I'm not panning it. So we'll see if some people are gonna pan it. I think the only reason you would pan this would be that I think the only downside of this is I think it's gonna be linear. That's my calculated guess. I might be wrong, right? This is just an unboxing. But that's my thought process. This thing, I'm getting a lot of the back end. And people that don't like patchouli, it's heavy on it. Like, I don't know what other reviewers are saying, like heavy incense, heavy leather, a heavy myrrh. I don't know. I think it's a patchouli DAVANA thing with a lot of darker notes kind of surrounding it. Really well composed. So kudos to Susie and Anik, which is, always love Anik's work. Yeah. So I can't wait to see the comments. And as always, a great report fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your Boss Bottle release wisely. There's some really good ones in this lineup. Thanks for watching. Have a good one.